Hi guys, welcome to another video where I create Google Sheets dashboards. In this one, we'll create this new style for me, which is a gradient background style. It's very simple to use. All you need to do is to create some images outside of Google Sheets. You can use Excel, you can use Word, you can use whatever online sources you have. You just simply need to create an image that has an option of having a gradient color. I'll walk you through this. Let's say that I will take no more than 25 minutes to explain all that is done here. All of the visualizations here are interactive. If we change the countries, all the visuals change. If we change the products, all the visuals change as well. Whenever we add new data, it is automatically updated. You know all the good stuff. So without further ado, let's jump into creating this whole thing from scratch. We begin with the dataset. In this situation, we have just a dummy dataset from kaggle.com. It doesn't really matter what the dataset is about, but long story short, we have some segments, some countries, products, and the quantities of units sold, the prices, the revenues. You get the idea. To format this data in Google Sheets and to make it more like an actual table that can react when you add new data, we have two methods. The old one, where we simply convert all of this into filters. And then when we click Format, we simply click alternating colors. Now this looks like a table, this is almost a table, and it almost acts like a table, since we can add new lines here, and it will automatically understand that this is a new line in this table, and it will add it to our pivot tables. However, as of mid-2024, Google Sheets has added a new way of making interactive tables. You simply click anywhere on your table, then we go to Format and Convert to Table. This brand new method makes everything with just a single click of a button, and as you can see, we already have all of our column names highlighted. We can make them as filters. We can even save them as a group by view. So for example, if I want to see everything grouped by units sold, this is how it would look like. So enough with the data. Now that we have it, let's jump into our dashboard. First, we need a blank canvas. So we add a new sheet. There are two methods of actually creating a blank canvas for your dashboard. So first one is we select all of the cells by clicking Ctrl A. Then we go to View and we disable grid lines. Now that they are disabled, we can once again select all of them and select whatever color we want for our dashboard background. But there's a caveat here, is that Google Sheets doesn't let you really create a gradient color. For example, a color that starts with brown and then gradually turns into yellow, which in my opinion for dashboards is the way to go. So to do that, we will need to insert an image on these cells. So we go back and now let's create our image in desktop Excel, or we can create them wherever you want online. We just simply need to import an image on top of all of these cells. I've opened up a new Excel workbook, as you can see. It's named Colors here. And now let me show you a life hack that I always use to create palettes for my visualizations and make them as beautiful as I can. So first, I go to Google. I found a palette generator. Any online free palette generator works. Once I have all 6 of my colors, in Excel, I go to Page Layout, I click Colors, and then Customize Colors. And we have these 6 accents, accent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for each of these accents, I simply insert the hexadecimal code of this color. I've already done this for this case, so we have these 6 colors here. Once I'm done, I click Save. And now whenever I go to Home and I want to color a cell, they are automatically shown here in my default colors, and their whole gradient is also here. Now what I want to do is to insert a shape, a simple rectangle. I want to disable the shape outline, and I click on Format Shape, right click by the way, On the right side we can see fill. We select gradient fill. We eliminate 2 middle gradients, so we only have 2 gradients here. Now we want to select the direction. I want my gradient to go from the left corner to the right corner, so it should be this one. And now we can select the colors that we want our gradient to go from. So we select the light color will be this pinkish, and the dark color will be this, maybe that's too dark, maybe let's go for this, that's also too dark, I think. We can go with this maybe, yeah, that looks much better. And we can then push around these gradients to see how it changes. I think this looks pretty nice. All right, so all that's left to do is to simply copy this image and paste it on our Google Sheet. Now that we are back on our Google Sheet, we simply paste the image, we move it to the corner and expand it to fill the whole page. Just like this. Nice. I think this looks much better than a simple one color canvas. So for just one more second, let's go back to our Excel workbook and I will show you one life hack that I use. So we remember that in the Home tab we already saved our color palette and we have our default colors here. So what I want to do is I want to color these 6x6 colors with these default tones. I want to do that because I want to save this as an image. I want to copy it on our Google Sheet, and then when we create visualizations on our Google Sheet, we can simply copy the colors from that image. I will show you later, but for now, let's just color our cells. After I'm done coloring them, I want to squeeze them up a little bit so that they are squares. Then I print screen this whole grid and then I paste it on my Google Sheet, just like this. Now we have this as an image, and whenever we want to color anything, remember that Google Sheets has this tool right here, pick a custom color. So we can simply drag on whatever color we want and it will automatically fill that with that color. This is an extremely simple way of knowing what colors to choose from, and we will stay in the boundaries of our style. Now that our canvas is ready, we can go back to our data. We simply click on any of these cells, we click insert and then pivot table. We want to copy it on existing sheet, on the one that we have our dashboard in, because remember that pivot tables in Google Sheets have to be saved in the same sheet as your dashboard is, because if you want to create slicers or filters later, they won't work if they will be on other sheets. Yes, we create our pivot table. Now the actual data doesn't really matter in this video. What matters is that we create visualizations that are visually appealing here as quickly as possible. So let's just jump into the month number for rows and we'll take profit for values. We shall disable the totals, and I don't really like that these are such big numbers. All of them are pretty much in millions, so I want to change them to be in smaller numbers. So we go format, number format, and we take this custom format. That's much more like it. Once we're done with our pivot table, we go insert, we click chart. We want this to be a line chart. Nice, it understood the assignment. Now let's drag it to where we want it to be on our dashboard. Let's say somewhere over here. And now let's play around with it just a little bit. So we go to customize, we disable the background, we disable the border, because once again we will insert another gradient image here. Then I want to disable the sum of profit, no grid lines. Once again, this is just styling. However you want your visuals to look, that's up to you. I'm just showing how I want to look them. Then we go for font Roboto, I think works best. I don't want this to be here. So if you want to hide the y-axis, You cannot simply delete it as in Excel. There's two ways you can do this. You can either hide them by making the numbers as small as possible. The smallest font size is 6, by the way. Or you can drag the actual chart to the leftmost corner like this, and it will hide automatically. The single caveat here is that we might lose some data labels here. Let me show you. If I click on the line and I click data labels, I want them to be shown. As you can see, this one on the left is barely visible. Yeah, it's a workaround that we have to play with. Next, I want to go back to my palette. Now I want to select the color for this line chart to be in line with our style. So we click color picker, we select whatever color we want, let's say this one right here, and then let's also change the font color of everything that we have here. So let's change this to be also dark. For now, let's leave this visualization as is, because we want to create a couple of more, and once we're done with those, then we'll create their backgrounds, which we also want to make in Excel as the gradients. For our next visual, we can simply copy and paste the pivot table that we already have. Copy and paste it. Once we have our pivot table selected, we can disable all the fields that we don't need. For this one, I want to create a bar chart where we have segment as rows, then product as columns, and let's say this time let's not go for profit, let's go for sales as values, so that we have only positive values. As we can see, only the first column retained the formatting that we had before. To easily copy the formatting from one cell to all of them, we can select the cell, we click on this tool right here, paint format, and we select all the cells that we want to format. And we disable totals, we select our range, and we insert a chart. Good. It automatically understood what I wanted it to do. The only thing is that I wanted to change rows and columns. Yeah, like this. Now let's move this to where I want this to be. Right here. I'll speed this part up as this is all about formatting. I'll maybe just slow down when I start coloring the actual bars. One thing I want to change is, as we can see, the actual labels don't fit in the boundaries of our bars. So I want it only to say 2.6, for example, without the euro sign and without the M. So in the actual name, I will write down millions euro so that we understand what this is all about. And then we go back to our pivot table and we'll have to change the format here. So we go back, we select all of these cells, we click format, we go to number, and then we want it to be this one. Yeah, that's much better. Now all that's left to do is to actually color our bars, and since we have our palette here, it's going to be very easy to do since we only need to select from these colors right here. So we select the fill color, whatever we want, and then we also want to add the black blind color. Nice. Our second visualization is done. We only want to add one more on this corner right here before we add the actual map. And finally, let's create our pie chart. Let's do this really quickly. We copy and paste our pivot table. We empty the fields. Then we want costs of goods sold for values. And for rows, we want, let's say, products. Great. As always, we need to make sure that our format is consistent. Like this, we don't show totals, we click Insert Chart. Nice. We move this whole thing to where we want it to be. And then, once again, we simply customize it. Perfect. With all of this out of the way, we can move on to creating the borders for each of these visualizations. So we go back to our Excel workbook or whatever program we're using to create our images. We copy and paste the gradient that we already had. Let's make it a little smaller. Now let's change the coloring just a little bit. I want the center or the corner to be orange. And then the outer color, let's try to leave it as it is. Let's try to copy and paste it and see how it looks. Yeah, I think this will work just fine. The only thing I want to add is a white border to this visual. So we click on our image, we click on the shape outline, make it white. Nice. Now we copy and paste it. Just like this. Now we fit it where we want it to fit. Make sure that it's on top of our visualization, like this. Nice. Now we have to copy our visualization and paste it, since whatever's pasted last will be pasted on top. Google Sheet doesn't have a function where we can move around the images, which one goes on the background and which one goes on the top. So we simply have to combine them on top of each other. And just like that, we have our gradient backgrounds. Now, the last thing I want to add is a map over here. So let's jump straight into it. There's several ways of creating maps in Google Sheets. I have a separate video for that, so you can check that out, but we'll use the most basic one we have. So we'll use the actual Google Sheets internal chart for creating maps. So once again, we create a pivot table. We want countries as rows, and let's go for profit as values. We select our pivot table, we click Insert, Chart, and we want to change this one to be the map. Since we have different continents here, we have some in the North America and we have some in Europe, it shows the whole world. There is no way for the internal Google map chart to show only the selected regions. There are some visual workarounds that we'll try to implement here, but for simplicity's sake, we'll leave it as it is. So we'll drag this vertically just a little bit. Now, we cannot do the same as we did with our other charts, since if we click on the actual background of our chart or of our map chart and we click none, as in we want no background, it's still white. There is no possibility to make it transparent. So the best workaround here is we can simply copy the background color of whatever we have on top here, like this. Then we also add a border, which is white, And this is as close as we can get to being consistent with our colors. Then for the actual color scales, once again we're using our palette. We click on Geo, we have the minimal value and the maximal value. So let's use the gradient of let's say oranges, like this, and the maximum will be this one. Yeah. Now we also have an option to select a color for no value countries that have no values basically. So for no value, let's use the darkest one, like this. And the last thing we want to do is to hide this legend right here. There is no option of hiding the legend, of doing anything with it. So what we want to do is to actually create a rectangle, just like we did with our visualizations here, and paste it on top. So we go back to our Excel workbook. We create a shape, no outline. Then we simply want to copy the color of this background. So we go back here, we click on the hexadecimal code of our background of this chart. We go back to Excel, shape fill, more fill colors, and we select this one. Then we narrow it down just a little bit, we copy it and paste it on top. Voila! Another thing that we can add is an actual name for our chart. So we can add this once again in Excel. We create a text box. We insert a shape, which is a text box. We write down geographical distribution, for example. We change the color of the font, and then we make sure that this shape is transparent. No fill, no outline. Copy, paste. Perfect. This is how our visualization looks so far. The only thing I want to add is some slicers, and then we can wrap it up. We click on any of our pivot tables. We click Data, Add Slicer. I won't go into much detail of the logic of how slicers work. I'll make a separate video on that, because in Google Sheets they're very unintuitive and there's a lot of workarounds we have to know. But basically we select whatever column we want to slice on or filter all of our visualizations. Let's go with product. Let's change the color. And let's move it somewhere here. Whatever products we select, all of our visualizations will change accordingly to only represent that product or those products. We can have as many slices as we want, so we can simply copy and paste it. Copy and paste the slicer. And then by editing it, we can select the data and select what we're slicing on. Let's say a discount brand. And once again, all of our visualizations react. If we want only certain visualizations to react, I will create once again a separate video for this one. For now, that's not the topic. But yeah, this is the final product. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and to watch as many times as you need to. I will keep creating new Google Sheets content, because this is the content that you guys want the most. The next video will talk about the slicers and how they work, because there is quite a lot of things that you need to understand about them. And yeah, thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next one.